Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Think About It. And I'm your host, LaWanda DeShazer. And again, I just want to thank everybody for just giving up a little bit of your time. We all know you could be doing something else, but you're going to be here with me. And if you're watching it later, again, I thank you for your time. Today, we have a special show, in this age of being an entrepreneur and starting small businesses or starting a big business. Sometimes we just don't know where to start, right? And I know everybody is familiar with, SBA and that organization, but I just wanted to bring another resource to you guys tonight to help you get started. And my special guest tonight is Mr. Thomas Webb. He is a credit analyst with SCKEDD. And I'm going to let him tell you guys a little bit about himself, and then we're going to just jump right into it. So, Thomas, thank you for being on the show tonight. And I'm going to let you introduce yourself and give our audience a little background about who you are and how you fit into this picture.
Okay. Well, you know what? I kind of got into this field of economic development or banking kind of by accident. I completed my MBA, and once I came out of the MBA, you had to go through that process of applying for jobs. And one of the first jobs, not one of the first jobs, but one of the jobs that I got out of that process is with Union National Bank, which isn't even in existence anymore. So I went into Union National Bank as a management trainee, and it's kind of interesting back then. So as soon as about the first 2 days I got in the bank, I had to take a test. Here I just get out of an MBA program, and now I've got to go take an accounting test. And so that kind of started the process, because once as a management trainee, you had to go through all the functional areas of the bank, and that gave you an idea of where you wanted to work in the bank. And so at that time, I went through the commercial loan course and got a feel for that. And at the time, Union National Bank was trying to do some innovative things in Northeast Wichita. And as part of that process, they started a nonprofit arm, because at the time the banks couldn't own real property. And so you had to have a separate entity to do that. And so I was a officer of a bank, and I was a part of that development company that we had too. And that's how we started out the 21st Street Northeast. Just kind of remember the project when we did the Mennonite housing and the strip center and the bank there, which is no longer open anymore, but that was a part of that process.
Right.
So, and it's interesting, like you said, to being able to let folks know what we do here at the South Central Kansas Economic Development District. I'll say that once, and so we can get into SCKEDD, and everybody knows this by our acronym. And so one of the things that we do, that we provide support, or it even could be loans to help small businesses gain access to capital.
Okay, so do you work with SBA, or you are standalone? That they come to you, one or the other?
You know what? The answer to your question is all the above.
Okay.
Our microloan program, we've got a microloan program that's been around. And as you see, from an evolutionary standpoint, SCKEDD's been around since 1972. And so one of our most popular programs is our microloan program, where we can extend loans up to $50,000 to small business owners. And with that, and if you think about that, because a lot of times, small businesses have a small request. That request is $5,000, or they need $50,000. But if you go and talk to a financial institution, they generally don't want to talk to you for requests that are under $50,000. So we kind of fill that void. And so a lot of times, if there's a small business that's gone and approached a financial institution and they know about SCKEDD, they'll refer them to us, because they know that they generally are not in a position to entertain those type of requests.
Okay, so you will do a small loan, like you say, 5,000 or whatever, up to the 50,000.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And that's our microloan program.
All right. Awesome. Okay, so I got this idea in my head. I'm like, you know what, LaWanda, it's time to start a business. what do I do? What is step number one? I know you're a credit analyst, so what is step number one?
Well, I say step number one is just because you got the idea, don't get in your car and run down to the bank or the lenders. And I think a lot of times small entrepreneurs make the mistake of they will go and see a lender before they're ready to do that. And so one of the things, just like as you prepare for this show, you have to prepare to own a business. And so a lot of times you need to start thinking about the things that you, first of all, you got to look at what's your angle, what are you trying to do? And then you got to look at from the standpoint, is this something that's legally permitted? And once you get over those hurdles, then you need to start putting the homework together, start to put the steps together. How do I want to promote this? How am I going to manage this organization? And not only that, here's the thing. What's most important, vitally important about that, no lender is going to provide 100% financing. So you're going to have some, like we say, you got to have some skin in the game. And so a lot of times, just the same processes as you save the down payment for purchasing a home, you've got to come up with that equity injection to start your business.
Okay. So that's good to know. No lender is going to give you 100% to start your business. Okay.
If you get it, take it.
Okay.
I'm just saying that, but it's not very likely.
Okay. So do I need to get a business plan together first? I mean, where does that come in at?
Well, your business plan is not only important for when you approach investors or lenders, it's also important for yourself. It's your Bible. It's what you know that you're going to do. And say, for instance, you open your business, you're going to come up with financial projections and things of how you're going to bring this product or service to the market. And then after you've been engaged in that business for a while, that business plan is your tool and your guide to allow you to evaluate, okay, how are we adhering to the strategy that we put out before? And so then you can, if you need to make tweaks to that business plan, it's not saying that you're going to go and change the whole concept, but yet you'll make refinements to improve your process, to improve you presenting that product to or service to the public.
Okay.
So it's vitally important.
Will SCKEDD help someone on that phase? Will they help you get your business plan together, or where can someone go to get an outline, or how do you accomplish that part?
Well, here's the thing that since we're a lender per se, we do provide technical assistance, but we don't get into helping you with writing that business plan, because yet at the same time, while we're lending too, and if we helped you with the business plan, it's not saying that people will do that, but you can come back and say, wait, I only did that because SCKEDD told me to do that.
Right.
And so if it gets into a litigation standpoint, here I am, they're saying, well, I only did this.
Whoa, did you feel that earthquake?
Yeah, we're rattling a little bit. And so it just goes to show that this is so exciting.
I know, we're shaking up the world.
It's kind of a delayed effect there too. But no, it's like I said, that business plan is critically important. And let me say this: if you don't have a business plan, it may be a situation where you're an existing business, but then yet at the same time you realize that you have a financing need. Sometimes I said that business plan is critical, but yet at the same time, if you have a project plan, that's important. The reason why it's important, because it comes out and you tell the lender what you're proposing to do. And most importantly, you let them know how you're qualified to do that. And thirdly, how they're going to be repaid if they provide either equity in your program, in your project, or if they provide lending. They just want to know if it's going to cash flow. Are you going to generate enough cash flow to repay the loan? Because you can have collateral for days, but it's all about the cash flow and whether or not you're going to have that in adequate amount to repay.
Okay. So in this day and age, can someone just get on the internet, Google search, and they can find a template for a business plan or a project plan?
Yeah, you actually can do that, because you've got to do your homework. And I can tell you one of the best resources to do that is SCORE. And the score is affiliated with the SBA, Service Corps of Retired Executives. And if you go score.org, but if you put score in there, you'll be able to find that. And they have different templates for different type of businesses. And because generally, if you go in there, businesses are determined from the IRS where your NAICS code. And if you go in there, and you can come up with templates based on the NAICS code.
Okay.
And although there are some businesses that that with the internet, it's kind of funny because I used to teach classes, and when I first started teaching classes, we didn't consider the internet to be a legitimate source, but now it is today.
Now it is.
But yeah, you can go in there, throw something in the search engine, and you can find information. But here's the thing. One of the things I say for a small business owner, if you want assistance with doing a small with a business plan or helping you with financing or anything like that, if someone's out there and they're saying, okay, we'll help you, but you got to give us $5,000 to do that, you should steer clear of that.
Okay.
You can pay people to do that, but then yet at the same time, it's about you rolling up your sleeve, girding your loins, and going out and doing your homework.
Right. Especially if you have to get your money together, your equity anyway. And so, like I say, if you can roll up your sleeves and do the work and save that to build up on your equity, that just makes sense.
And if you've got a concept that, say, for instance, the type of concept that you're going to have to get patented or anything like that, and if you're out there jaw jacking and running your mouth, somebody hears about your idea and you haven't already got it patented, believe you me, people will steal your idea.
Okay. So you mentioned that on the microloan program, is it just for startups or is it for existing businesses as well?
You know what? We say startup, and I'm going to tell you that it's not impossible, but it's extremely difficult for startup entities to get a loan. And I'm not saying that to deter anybody or anything like that. I just want you to know that up front. So when you start to put your project plan together, you try to anticipate the lenders and you try to anticipate the questions that the lender's going to have. And so you need to use your business plan to answer those objections beforehand. Okay. So you're trying to be a visionary. I'm not going to say that you know everything, but you need to kind of get a feel for how lenders think. They're generally risk averse, but then yet at the same time, if you show them how you got compensating factors to minimize their fears about the risk, that's an important concept. So you have to anticipate, okay, what's the objections going to be? And if you look at it like that, I'm a small business owner, but I'm going out and I'm trying to ask investors or lenders to believe in the concept that I'm believing in. Take a walk in the shoes of the lenders and those investors and say, what objections would you have to your business plan? And so you need to try to answer those type of things. And be prepared when they say, well, I don't know about that. And so you can say, well, this is why I have this concept, and this is what I'm proposing to do.
Okay. So your business plan is actually, like you said, being a visionary. So really, in your mind, the business is already going in your mind, and you should be able to sell it when you go to the lender.
Yeah, because if you think about it, you are the one that has this idea. If you can't sell this concept, it's kind of a red flag.
Right.
And so I'm not saying that you need to come in and be like Herb Tarlick or anything like that on WIKRP in Cincinnati or anything, but you got to be able to sell what you're proposing to do.
Okay. And, so SCKEDD has a lot of different programs under its umbrella. But before we go to another one, I want to ask you about the credit. So credit analyst, that's your title, and that's obviously your baby. So what do I need to do or be prepared when I go to the lender? I know they're going to pull my credit score, but what does that look like?
Well, like I said, we're an alternative lender, but I'd like it be known that we don't give money away. And so we'll consider requests that your conventional lenders won't look at it, but we still want you to be credit worthy. Mm-hmm. And so generally for our programs, our internal programs, we'll look at it if you've got a minimum FICO score of 680.
Oh, that's not bad. 680? That's easy.
680.
That is not bad at all. Okay.
Well, I've seen worse.
But if you work and I'm sure you know Mr. Albertha, and he does the affordable homes, and he told me that sometimes once he gets his funding, he gets his potential buyer, and he said a lot of times or sometimes they have credit issues, and he said he'll work with them for whatever long it takes, and then he can help them to get their credit score where it needs to be. So when they come to you and your credit is a little fuzzy, do you give them a little time to work on it, or you just say get out of here?
No, because the thing we're into relationship building, so we may have someone sit down before us, and we know that we're not going to be able to do it that day, and so we're honest with them. We say, hey, these are the things that you're going to have to rectify before you can come in and we can seriously consider your request. But we also let them know, it takes work. And a lot of times people think, if you think that you're going to get it rectified overnight, generally it's not going to work that way. It took a while for you to get into that situation. So you need to have patience to work your way out of it. It's not impossible, but yeah, we try to cultivate the relationships and work with them, but yet at the same time, we point the things out, but it's up to you to go and do what's needed to clean it up. And sometimes there are circumstances beyond a person's control. And the fact that someone was able to look at your credit report and see that there is a finding out there, and sometimes it's by mistake. It's not like all the folks that are in prison who said, I didn't do it. And you go like, okay, right.
Right.
Yeah, sometimes there are things that if you look at it, we're in this day and time when an identity theft is not an unusual thing. And I've known several people who've had their identity stolen, and by folks who do that, these are entrepreneurs who will steal your identity, and they'll damage your credit. But yet at the same time, the burden of proof and restoring your credit is on you. And so you just have to explain to folks, this is what happened. Someone stole my identity. I didn't do these things. But I've known folks who've had to go through the process to restore their credit history, and it can be done.
Right. And I know every business is different, right? And startups are probably different for each business, but is there some like a magic number, anything that people should have in the bank, dollar amount or is it a percentage? Say your business, you estimate it's going to cost you $100,000 to keep it going. What percentage of that $100,000 should I already have?
Well, if you're an existing business, generally the criteria is about 10%. So if you need $100,000 and you need 10% of it, you're going to have $10,000 of your own.
Okay.
But it's not a rule of thumb, but generally it just depends, if you're an existing business. But we've also got situations where it's a special or limited purpose facility. And if it's that, then it's possible that you may be asked to put in 15%. And so in situations where we got a limited purpose building and we've also got a new concept, then you're gonna probably start out at 20%.
A little bit more. Right. Okay. And you said that's an existing, but again, it's just in my head. Is there a difference?
I know what, if you come in and you're a startup business, the best thing that you can convey that you know what you're talking about and you've done your homework.
Okay.
So again, you've got to convince people that they should be willing to take a chance on you. And so if you are limited in your capacity to sell what you're doing, it's going to render a difficult road, not impossible. And the thing of it is, when you're in this game, if you are concerned because somebody tells you no, you need to get out today, because somebody's going to tell you no. But yet at the same time, if you've got that stick-to-itiveness and you continue to get out there and hustle, you're going to find somebody who's going to say yes.
Okay. All right. So, like I was saying, under SCKEDD, you guys have a lot of different umbrellas. And, we kind of talked about the business loans. Um, you do community grants. And I did my research. And it seems like, and in the community housing resurgent program as well. So those programs, well, we go to community grants, and that's the CD community development block grants. So I've had some experience with those on the city side. So does SCKEDD work with the city to help fund those grants, or how does that side work?
We've got, don't make me start lying to how many people that are doing the grant writing. I know there's at least 3 full-time folks. And what they do is they write those grants for the benefit of the local municipalities. So it could be like the city of Hillsborough, or it could be a county, but they write those grants on behalf of them, because a lot of times, if you think about it, from in the economic development realms of those cities, there's not a lot of folks. And so if you can sub it out to us to do that, we write that on their behalf, and we get a percentage for what we do.
Okay, that makes sense. And that's probably the same with the housing resurgence program as well. I was reading about that. I think your program helps maybe clear land of some houses that need to be demolished, or
it could be a situation where they totally rehab the home.
Mm-hmm.
And for the beneficiaries. And it's a different thing. When we look at our weatherization program and we look at our the rehab programs, those are income dependent programs. And so generally it'll have a caveat on there that will provide this service to low to moderate income individuals, or just low income folks. And so generally they base that on the HUD standards. So if you've got, say for instance, if I'm a higher net worth person and I want my home rehab, don't come to SCKEDD. It would be a good idea to come see SCKEDD for about that.
So as an individual, if I qualify financially, I'm retired. So, so if I qualify financially, you guys will help rehab my home, it's through another program?
It's possible. It's possible. I'm not going to speak for those folks, but it is possible. And particularly from a weatherization standpoint, they'll come in, do an inspection on your home. And if they find areas within your home where you're losing energy, then they'll come in and make the corrections to make your home energy efficient.
Okay. So
there are times that could be a new furnace, that could be a new air conditioner. It could be, doing sealing holes in your roof and things like that, whatever's needed to make that home tight and right.
Okay, so I saw that for that there's a grant process, and I know you just go to your website and apply. So will they come out and do the inspection, or you have to apply first and then they'll come out and take a look?
Well, there's an application process, and then they have to go through because if you think about it, they've got to make sure that they're adhering to their funding sources. Because generally, if you look at it from a weatherization program, it's generally a situation where the beneficiaries don't have the capacity to pay for the services. Okay. Right. They don't have the capacity to pay for the services, but there's still a cost for it.
Right.
And so they don't have to pay the $500,000 or whatever it is to get their home energy efficient.
Mm-hmm.
But they have to qualify to do that. And we have to be able to show, okay, we provided this service to a low to moderate income individual.
Okay. All right. That's actually an awesome program. I remember a few years ago, I don't even know who sponsored it. Westar, I don't even know, but they had a program where they were doing the heating and air, and then you pay a little bit on it every year, and I think it's through your electric bill or something.
Hopefully they wouldn't put beautiful poles in your backyard.
Yeah, they didn't put beautiful poles. Don't get me started on those poles. Don't get me started.
I'm not supposed to be talking about Evergy out here.
Okay, all right. We won't go there. We won't go there. Not tonight, because I can go there, but I won't do it tonight. So you threw me off a little bit. Okay.
It's one of like I said, I'd like to go out and be a champion for all the programs and services that SCKEDD provides, but I'm not going to say here that I'm an expert on all those. But if you've got questions about that, I can get you to the right people that you can ask those questions of.
Right. Okay. So I did get the email address and make sure I got it right.
Is that for which program?
I just did it in general. There was just a contact in general.
You know what? And it's probably better, like if me as a contact or my boss, Natalie, or someone else like that. I mean, yeah, you can do that general, but it's always good to drop names.
Okay. Well, you know what? We can do that too. We can drop a name tonight. So what is your direct phone number or Natalie's?
And she'd give me for this here. It's Natalie Centennial. That's SANTONIL. And you just do Centennial@SCKEDD.org. That's her email. And her direct line is 440-3343.
You said that kind of fast.
440-3343. And I got to look at my card because, I very seldom do I call myself. I don't even remember my telephone number.
Exactly.
But I can tell you SCKEDD's number is the same number it's been since, 262-7035.
Yeah.
That number hasn't changed in a long time.
Right. And so you're out in Bel Air, correct? Is that where your office is?
Yeah. It's interesting. We've been out there probably for at least 3 to 4 years. I think it was much more convenient when we had a downtown office, but then yet at the same time, right now, no one's able to come into the office because everyone's working remotely now anyway. But
right.
I think eventually it'll be a point that we can get back to the office. And I don't know, we're always looking, striving for continuous improvement. But that'll be great if they can just contact, like you said, Natalie's responsible for our business development, and if she's the point of contact, and so whether it be for a small business loan, whether it be for an SBA loan, or because we do a variety of things from a lending standpoint, but she's a starting point, and she can get you directed once you get into the organization.
Okay, so we always hear about SBA. So do all these other different entities go through SBA, or does everybody, is SCKEDD different? I mean, what's the connection with SCKEDD and SBA and these other programs?
Well, SCKEDD's a certified development company. And so for the 504 program, you have to have a certified development company to do the SBA's part of that lending process. So the 504 program is a fixed asset financing program, which basically we're either doing it for buildings and real estate, or we can do it for machinery and equipment. And what's important about the 504 program, it's a partner kind of participation loan. The SBA, through the 504 program, allows the bank to make a first position loan for 50% of the project cost. So they got priority on the collateral, and then the SBA, through a CDC like SCKEDD, will provide a loan to up to 40%, and the borrower has to put in 10%.
Okay. All right.
So it's an excellent way for an existing business to purchase a building or to purchase machinery and equipment.
Okay. All right. So all you people out there with businesses, and I see some of my friends out there and they have businesses, if you need to talk to somebody about how to maybe expand, so it's for an expansion, correct? Or maybe you got outdated equipment you need to upgrade or whatever.
It has to be a fixed asset that qualifies for that financing. I can tell you right now, the rates on that is probably 2%, 2.4.
That's not bad at all.
You get a 2% loan, and for the CDC portion, you can have up to a 25-year loan.
That's not bad at all.
25 years at 2%, yeah.
2%, okay. All right, so.
But that's where they're at today. That's not saying that they can't go up. But
Right.
generally, they're below rate financing, and it allows them to have a longer maturity than you would have in absence of having that SBA intervention part of
Okay.
that.
All right. And you said if the conventional bank, you have a little issue there, maybe it doesn't go through, then contact SCKEDD and see what can be done.
Yeah, I mean, for the 504 program, and we usually get involved with that program, you pretty much have to have a bank that's willing to participate. And we sell it from the concept, okay, they've got the first position on 50% of the project collateral, and then the SBA comes in. And it's also a position where the entrepreneur only has to make, depending if it's not a limited purpose and they're not a startup, that's only a 10% equity injection in those. And it's usually a pretty good thing because, like I said, it's usually below market rate.
Okay, so you got a question. So the 2% or whatever the market rate is, they asking that according to their credit score, but you already said
no, it's not. It's
right.
See, with the 504 loan, they sell the SBA loan portion to investors. And so these are the rates for what comes after sending those debentures in the secondary market.
Right. And you've already stated that a minimum credit score is going to be 680
to work with SCKEDD.
To work with SCKEDD.
So, okay. But you got to also look at with the situation when you're doing a 504 loan, you got the third party lender, and you've also got to deal with the CDC and the SBA.
Okay.
And so generally we write up the credit memos for that. So we prepare the package for the SBA and for the lender, but the lender still has to get go through their internal approval process too.
All right. So the government for because of Corona and those type of things. Well, Corona, there was a lot of business loans that were given out, and here recently the governor has forgiven some loans. Which one? Do you know which ones have been forgiven?
Well, the government, the payment protection loans are potentially forgivable if they were extended for an approved reason. And so generally what they were trying to do when the COVID restrictions came in, a lot of businesses weren't able to open their doors, but they still had to pay their loans. And so with the payment protection loans, that helped them to make payroll. And in some situations, there was also loan forgiveness. The SBA made payments for the borrowers too.
Okay. All right. So does SCKEDD ever forgive loans?
No, we don't. And the thing of it is, if you get in this business, you don't get in the business to giving away your money.
Right.
But we do provide technical assistance. So if we generally with our micro loan program, we have the capacity to help you if you need help with your human resources, help with payroll and all those type of things. We can bring in one of our credit technical assistance reps to come in and work with you. Okay,
so you do have some reps, counselors, or whatever to help with the business process. Okay, awesome. That's good. Okay.
Because here's one of the things that's a red flag. When it comes to lending, you need to do your homework to make sure that you have the financing in place so you don't find yourself in a situation where you've got a working capital problem, but then you come and you talk to the lenders and you got your payroll's already past due. Chances are you're not going to get help in that situation. But if you have a business where we know that you've got timing differences, say for instance, you're a supplier to Sprint, and a lot of times, there's going to be some delays. You're going to do the work and you're going to have to pay your suppliers before you get paid from Spirit. Okay. So in that situation, you know how that works and you know about the timing difference. That's when you go out to a lender and say, hey, I got a working capital need. Generally it takes us 3 months, 90 days to collect our bills, but we've got to pay before the 90 days. So if they can provide a line of credit for you where you've got access to working capital before you have to pay your bills, that's an ideal thing. But you're not going to get that because you've got to be able to explain that to a lender before you're at that critical stage.
Okay. All right. And again, I think we went over it. Payroll could be one of your reasons for a loan, but not the only reason. Like you said, it can be fixed assets as well, correct?
Yeah, just like I said, it just, if you know that there's timing differences, but you can say, okay, this is when I collect my receivables, they can provide financing for you. And then once your receivables are collected, you just repay the line.
Right. All right. Another question.
But it's possible for a business to grow if there's a business that continues to grow, their need for working capital is also going to grow with that. And it usually becomes a point in time where where a business isn't able to finance their own growth, so they need to have access to external capital in order to continue to grow. Because it's possible for a business to grow so fast that they grow out of business.
Right. Okay. So I'm trying to go through these questions here. It doesn't matter. They say, what's that? Self-proprietor. Can you see the questions over there?
I cannot, but a sole proprietor is just basically when you can structure your business in any manner you desire. A sole proprietor is just basically Schedule C on your personal tax return.
Right. Just one owner.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And right. So business is still a business. Okay.
And you can still report a limited liability company as a sole proprietor or Schedule C too. Or you can report your limited liability as a partnership. And so it just depends. And generally, if you think about it, most small businesses try to save money, but it comes a point in time where I know you're trying to do things efficiently, but every now and then you've got to spend money for access to the services, and it's probably not if you continue to grow, it's probably not a bad idea to get a CPA to help you to prepare your financial statements. Okay,
you brought up, I'm glad you said that. Are there any tax advisors at SCKEDD? Somebody reached out to me the other day looking for someone to help them their business taxes.
Well, hang on. What do you mean business taxes? If we're talking about looking to help them pay them, or
no, just to fill out the paperwork, just to walk.
We don't do that, but yeah, like I said, we can get a technical assistance provider who can help you with that. But eventually, it's going to get to the point where if that's something, the more complex the business gets and the larger it gets, as much as you try to do it all yourself on a paper bag, eventually you're going to need a CPA.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is maybe they should make that initial phone call, just say, I need some technical assistance with this, that, or the other. And then you guys will direct them. If you have that support, if you can offer it, you'll give it to them.
Yeah, just do that intake initially. So they'll do an intake and say, okay, let's hear what the problem is. And if we have a way to help, then we'll send it out to somebody.
Okay. Awesome.
But we don't have anyone internal who's a CPA or who's skilled at that. But I do know that we need a treasurer, not a treasurer. We need a financial officer. And so that position's open if someone's got the skills. They're CPA and they can do it. If they've got knowledge of the finances of a nonprofit organization, that'd be great.
Oh, see, and they have to have their CPA.
Not necessarily. I'm just saying if they have experience in being a CFO or something like that, or controller in a nonprofit organization, by all means, submit their resume.
Hey, see, I keep telling y'all, when y'all tune in and think about it, y'all getting some good information. So, put it out, to kind of help you can get for your business. And if you need a job, hey, you might want to check them out. CFO, they need a financial officer. Again, that's tune in to think about it. I keep telling y'all going to get something to think about.
Because it's interesting, most businesses, and they're out there and they're doing the different things, whether it's an internet-based business or if they're selling a tangible product, they know about that product. But yet at the same time, they may not be as sophisticated about the human resources aspect of it when they've got to pay their payroll taxes and things like that. And so we know that you're good at making the widgets. We just want to help you with the other aspects of getting those widgets to the market.
Right. So from your perspective, and not that you would discourage anybody from doing anything, is there like a particular industry that gets an eyebrow raised, or just historically it may not be successful?
No, we don't look at it that way because, like you said, you present it and we analyze it, and it all boils down to, if it's going to cash flow. And generally, from a standpoint, we look at your cash flow based on what you're borrowing. We want to make sure that you can come up with a 1.25 debt service coverage ratio. Basically means for every dollar of debt that you have $1.25 to cover that debt.
Oh, okay, okay. And there is no size to the business. You said $0 to $50,000. You guys may be able to provide for a business.
Yeah, because a lot of the deals that we get involved with at SCKEDD, for the 50,000 and below, yeah, we'll provide the financing ourselves. But for the most part, when we're doing the lending, it's more of a participation. So we're usually working with a conventional lender or bank to help them smooth the risk of that and to help you get access. Because hopefully, if we're coming in and we're providing our services, we're doing it to a business that has an ability to create jobs.
Right.
And so if you think about it, a lot of people, if you think we're still the aircraft capital of the world, but if you think about that, the evolution of that industry has been such that, you no longer have the Boeing, Learjet, or one of them just went out. But there's still businesses that support that industry. Mm-hmm. But what we're saying is most businesses is started by entrepreneurs. And unfortunately, I'm not even going to say unfortunately, that's not the word that I was wanting to say. Fortunately, it's women who are starting those businesses. And so we need to provide that type of support to those type of agencies.
Right. Man, we've got a lot of good information from you. Is there anything that we haven't covered that you would like somebody to maybe do their homework on before they call SCKEDD?
Well, I think that they should do that anyway, because just like I said, the big part is understanding the concerns. If you come in and you present a project to a lender, and a lot of people come in, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Okay, yeah, but have you thought about this? And have you thought about that? And so if a lender points those things out, they're not doing it to you because they're trying to find a way to turn you down. They want you to come back and strengthen that package so they can ideally, if you're approaching lenders, and believe you me, they are on commission and they want those loans on the book. Right. And so they want to increase the probability of your loan being approved because they've got to go. So if I'm going to go into a loan committee and present your case, man, it's got to be solid.
Right. Okay. So everybody do your homework first. Do your homework. And then, like you said, if you go in and you talk to someone and they find a few little holes, it's okay, because that'll make your business plan stronger. So don't shy away because you're feeling like, I'm not quite sure. It sounds like to me, maybe you should go for it. And then if you got some more homework to do, that's okay.
Here's the thing. As I said earlier, and I'll reemphasize that, don't talk your business to just anybody. But if you can find a mentor or someone that's already got an established business, they don't necessarily have to be in the same line of business that you're looking to get into, but you can bounce ideas off them and they can help you and they can let you know from the things that they suffered to increase the probability of you having success.
Right.
So don't talk to everybody, but I guarantee you most businesses who are successful and are able to get started, there was someone else that passed some nuggets on to them.
Right. So find you a trusted mentor. Don't be just giving your ideas out to anybody, because it may become their idea. I remember my son back in elementary, he had created this little toy, just something he was playing around with. And I'd be doggone if a few years later you can go on Walmart and buy it. I'm like, dang, Armand, you missed out. You missed out somebody.
And we won't talk about those young men right now because we'll have to bring up the story about them making a powder puff girl. But
I know, right? Man, we should have wrote their ideas down, man.
But no, it's The thing of it is, it's hard work, but hard work pays off.
Right, right. I have a friend of mine, and she's been working on her project for a couple of years. She's really trying to do something about food deserts in Northeast and maybe South Wichita. And it's been, trying to get, like I said, that seed money. It's real. Getting the seed money is real.
And the thing of it is like you said, when it comes to starting a business, just like when it comes to starting a home, we've got to bypass today's consumption in order to set aside that money.
Right.
Okay. I mean, you're not going to get it overnight, but then yet at the same time, I mean, if you need a car, you need a car, but yet do you get a Hyundai or do you go out and get a Rolls Royce or whichever?
Right, right. So you got to invest in yourself and invest in your future business, and maybe, not like I say, maybe you don't get the 2021 car. Maybe you just go get something to get you down the road. So
and if you look at that like that, and if you're going to go out and you're going to promote a business, you got to get out, and folks have to know who you are and what you're capable of doing. Because sometimes just by the mere fact that you've been out and saying, this is what I'm proposing to do, and this is how I'm going to do it, somebody may say, you know what, just like Shark Tank, I like that idea. Mm-hmm. Why don't you invest that in there? I mean, but I'd look at it, but first and foremost, you got to look at it as, okay, I'm going to come up with the equity investment myself. Mm-hmm. And so don't go out expecting, okay, I'm going to get investors. Well, can you do it if you don't have the investors? And so you got to start putting your plan in place to come up with those financings yourself. And if it may be a situation, if you got a 401k and you can borrow against it, if you believe in your concept, why should you be afraid to borrow against your own funds? Because you're going to repay yourself back.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. This has been a really good talk. I've enjoyed it. I've seen questions out there, and I know there'll be some in the future. And so this broadcast will be on Facebook forever. It'll be on YouTube forever, unless they go under. It'll be on there forever. And I just want to thank you for coming on again.
Because who knows? There's probably this dynamite concept that's waiting to be launched, and they just need someone to help them to. Sometimes it's overcoming the fear of success and the final motivation to get out there and do it. And because you think about it, there's a lot of businesses that are started because people got laid off.
Right.
And now I got nothing else to lose. And yet at the same time, the concept was always there.
Right, right, right. All right. So I just want to thank you. I want to thank SCKEDD for coming on tonight. Like you said, a lot of people have lost their jobs, and they're rethinking their lives. They probably have had this idea in their back pocket for a long time, and now is the time to kick it off. And they just need some resources, some information to kick it off. And I thank you for coming on. At some point, I would love to have you come back and maybe do a credit workshop. Maybe just talk to people about what to look for on their credit, what to do, how to contact someone if there's something bogus on their report. And so, again, we can just do the whole gamut to help people get off their feet and moving forward. So
that worked for me.
Awesome. All right. Any closing remarks? I know you got one more.
You know what? Just like I said, if folks have ideas and they want to bounce it off us, by all means, one of the things that we are going to adhere to the confidentiality of what you have. And so we're not going to say, well, that's a good idea and run with it. We're going to give you, I'm not even going to say it's going to be constructive criticism, but no, we're just going to evaluate it and say, hey, these are probably some things that you have to be prepared to address if the question came up.
Awesome. All right. Well, I got the phone number. Let me take a look at it again and put it out there. If you need to contact, no, not that. We don't want to do that. We want you to contact Natalie directly. So
yeah, she's our business development officer. She's boss too, so.
Okay. All right. So contact Natalie. You see the number 316-440-3343. Let her know what your needs are, and then she'll get you to the right person within SCKEDD. If you there's application process on their website. SCKEDD online at Gmail. No, that's if you have a question, you can email them.
Well, actually, we pretty much, if you want an application, it's probably going to come through Natalie too.
Okay.
We used to have all those resources on the web page, but then at the same time, you don't want to get inundated with that stuff,
right?
Until you know it's in process.
Okay. So Natalie's going to be our one-stop shop to get everything going. Then got it.
The point
I'm going to be contacted. I'm going to contact her about some weatherization.
Well, she's not in charge of weatherization,
but she'll get me to the right person.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
She's in charge of the loan process.
Okay, the loans. Okay, so everybody out there with your business, you got some questions, contact Natalie and she'll get you going in the right direction. So Thomas, again, thank you for coming on. Think about it tonight. We hope to see you again in the future.
Because all these, it's a community partnership, and a lot of these businesses aren't going to get birth if we're not out there working as partners to bring these things to a reality.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you for coming on, and we will see you again in the future.
So go make it great.
We'll make it great. All right. Okay, everybody, thank you for tuning in to Think About It. I hope you enjoyed Thomas Webb and you got some good information. Like I said, I'm going to be calling them for some weatherization. If your house is too hot, too cold, you need some help, call them. You got a business and you need some, maybe like say some tax expertise. You need somebody to help you walk through those business taxes. You need a small loan, micro loan. Give SCKEDD a call, and hopefully they can help you out. This is LaWanda DeShazer. I want to thank everybody again for tuning in. If you're here with me now, if you're here in the future, thank you. And remember, think about it. This is the show that I guarantee that when you leave, you will definitely have something to think about. Bye.